Hello, everybody. What a wonderful Saturday afternoon this is. On today, giving God the glory for who He is. And welcome to Encouraging Moments with Marilyn, a podcast that is designed to give you an encouraging, uplifting, inspirational word for your everyday living. Hallelujah. And I am the host of this podcast, Elder Marilyn Keys, giving God the glory for all He has done, all of who He is. Because I truly made it out. All right, y'all. You didn't leave me no forsaken. You didn't leave me no forsaken me. You didn't yes. You didn't let my enemy take me. Why, y'all? I made it out all right. Yes, I made it out all right. Normally I'm saying good morning, but now I'm saying good afternoon to y'all on today. Got in a little bit late, but to God be the glory for all He is and all of what He's about to do. He is transitioning us. I said transformation on yesterday, transforming us, for this month of November. But you have to be transformed before you can transition. Because transformation is when you are changed. See, the Word of God says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And you renew your mind through the Word of God. You renew your mind by thinking different thoughts and changing the way that you think. That's how you renew your mind. Knowing that the very thing that you desire, it is yours. Because you have transformed your mind to acknowledge the fact that if you go to God and you have faith, that anything that you ask of Him according to His purpose, it is given to you. And the word says, if you delight yourself in Him, He will give you the desires of your heart. So your mindset changes to, I stand on the Word of God. And when your mindset transforms and says, I stand on the Word of God, then the Word of God changes your atmosphere. It may not seem like that in the beginning, because sometimes, you can speak the word and it's like, it's not happening. And you speak the word again, but we're a microwave generation. We want things to happen right away. Sometimes they don't happen right away. Your mindset changes. Then you speak the word. Then you do what is necessary to, as far as your planning, your goals, and all of that is as far as doing what is necessary to for that outcome. And that outcome can come at an instant, or it could be a week or a month, or however long it may be. But as long as we wait on the Lord, our strength is going to be renewed. We're going to mount up with wings as eagles. We're going to run and not be weary. We're going to walk and we're not going to faint. So, with that being said, you have to depend on God for everything. You have to go to Him in prayer. At the same time, while you're praying, you're watching, you're waiting, you're still working. You're still doing those things that are necessary. And then once transformation is occurring, then you can transition. Go to another level. Go to another season. Go to another place in Him. But your mindset has got to change. You can't think the same thoughts and think the same way and think that you're going to a different place where you are. if you have the same thinking, then you're going to stay in the same place. But if you have a different thinking, a different mindset, then you are going to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You're going to think differently. You're going to move differently. You're going to act differently. Some people may say, you seem weird. And then you may say, I'm always weird. They say, more weirder than normal. They will say that, y'all. It's like, oh, this person has changed. I don't understand. They was this way at one point and now they're a whole different way. They were this way this month. Now they're a different way. Why are they losing so much weight? Because their mindset changed and they decided that they was going to eat differently and they was actually going to exercise the way that they're supposed to exercise. And then the weight comes off and then you're wondering what's going on with them. They're losing so much weight. I wonder if they have some kind of disease or a problem or something like that. No, they don't. They just decided that they were going to do the right thing with their diet. And they wasn't going to eat as much as they used to eat, you see. Sometimes it takes pushing away from the table. It takes what? Obedience in the word. And it takes a tweak of your appetite. That means that you're not given to your appetite. And when you're not given to your appetite, things change. And then you can what? Transition. Just like you transition from one season to the next season. You may have harvest season, and then you have your winter seasons, and then you may have your fall, and you may have your spring and your summer, and it goes all over and over and over again. You have transitioned from one season to another season. So, with all of that being said, which is not my subject today. That is not my subject on today, but I decided that that needed to be said. That when you really don't transition until there is a transformation. You don't transition until there is a transformation. In order for you to transition to a different level, you have to have a mindset change. Because even in the natural realm, you see that things happen to plants. They start to transform. They start to transform. They start to change. They start to look different when a season is coming in. And see, the season may not be fully in. The season may not be fully in. The transformation begins. Then the transition into the new season begins. You start seeing different changes. The weather may go up and down, up and down, up and down before the next season, winter hits. So transformation starts. Leaves start changing color. Grass start not growing as fast. Everything starts slowing down. That's transformation. And then all of a sudden, your calendar or the news or somebody will say, winter is here. And don't forget about the time going back. Transformation. Time change. Transformation is a what? A change. And then we transition. So, to God be the glory on today. I've been talking about David. David is one of my favorite characters because of the fact that God said that he was a man after his own heart. He had the heart of God. So how can someone make so many mistakes and errors? And how can someone take another man's wife, get her pregnant, and then send him to the front line? How can someone do all of that and still be a man after God's own heart? Because He had a repentant heart. He was humble. He always went to God humble. He was a worshiper. He basically was truly godly sorry for everything. He allowed his flesh, his emotions, his feelings to take over, and he couldn't help himself. You know how some people say, I just couldn't help myself. Well, David just couldn't help himself. He didn't have discipline in that area. He wasn't disciplined in that area. And his flesh overtook him, and he did do what he did. So he, before he became king and he did all of those things, he had to fight for his life. He had to fight for his life. He had to fight the good battle, the warfare that he was in against Saul, who was king, but the Spirit of God left him and God rejected him as king. And now David has been anointed. And now where are we going with this? We're going into the heart of David. We're going into the heart of David and the heart of Saul on today. Because the heart of David and the heart of Saul, they were two different hearts. This is how David could be a man after God's own heart. This is how he can have God's heart. This is how he can have God's attention. This is how he can have the ear of God. The ear of God was turned towards David. The ear of God was turned towards David. You see, David had to flee for his life. And I told you in 1 Samuel, the 19th chapter, the 8th through the 24th verse on how, see, this is a recap. I know some people, they so smart, they don't need recaps. But, I continue to go back just in case, someone may not have heard the other portion, so if you haven't heard those portions, go back, listen to the previous episode so that you can hear that portion of it, but I do recaps. And I will go to the specific or book, chapter, verse that I was in last time and then move forward. Simply because, I want people to understand the heart of Saul and the heart of David. I want you to understand that, you can slay giants and that, it takes obedience, it takes humility, it takes the love of God. That's what it takes. It takes the love of God. David was delighting himself in the Lord. He worshiped God. His heart was with God. He didn't want to displease him. But when he did do what he did, he went to God with a godly sorrow. He was truly sorrowful because he didn't want the presence of God to leave him. He didn't want to stop the conversations that he was having with God, the closeness that they had. And so he repented, and yes, he repented in his heart for all of what he had done. But going back to the 19th chapter of 1 Samuel and how Saul told his son and to all his servants that they should kill David. The 19th chapter, the first verse says, and Saul spake to Jonathan his son and to all his servants that they should kill David. Right? The fourth verse of the same chapter says, and Jonathan spake good of David unto Saul his father, and said unto him, let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he hath not sinned against thee, and because his works have been to thee ward very good. Have you ever just done well to the people you knew meant you wrong? See, it takes love. It really does. It takes love not to hold grudge against someone you know does not like you, and it doesn't matter if they don't like you. The only thing that matters to God is your reaction to them. And sometimes we may react in the wrong way. Sometimes we may react in the right way. But David, he reacted in the right way. Each time he found out this man wants to kill you. This king who is king over everything for now, even though you've been anointed.